Hi everybody, welcome to Tips on Teens. I am Kent Toussaint, the clinical director and founder of Teen Therapy Center in Woodland Hills, our website, teentherapycenter.com, coming to you live on Facebook, where we answer your questions that you email us at tipsonteens@teentherapycenter.com, or you can message us here on Facebook. And we're answering the question. We got a lot of questions about this week, so here is the question for the week. April 20th is coming up, and my teens joke a lot about 420, and it's pretty concerning. I get that they're probably just joking, but I'm worried since smoking pot seems so common these days. Why is 420 connected to pot smoking, and what should I do about it? Yes, 420 is about smoking weed. It is International Pot Smoking Day. Now, there's a lot of myths about 420, and I actually have an article. It's in the comment section. If you want to read more about it, you can click on there and read more about that, or you can listen to me here as I wax eloquently about 420. Here, what is 420 is not. It is, while it is, unfortunately, it is the birthday of Adolf Hitler. It has nothing to do with that. It is not the number of chemicals that burns when you smoke weed. It is not the police code when arresting someone for marijuana possession. 420 has a rich history dating back to 1971. Yes, 1971. There was a group of teenagers in San Rafael, California, and they named themselves the Waldos. Why did they name themselves the Waldos? I don't know. That's just what they call themselves. Anyways, they had heard about a group of free-range marijuana plants, and they want to go find them. So they arranged to meet each other at 4:20 p.m. So 4:20 actually started as a time and not a date. And they got really high, and they went looking for these plants. Understandably, they did not find the plants. Just so it goes to show you that smoking weed doesn't necessarily help you solve your problems. Anyways, so these teenagers started using the code 420 to talk about weed in front of teachers, parents, school administrators, anyone they want, but they can talk freely about it and no one would know. After high school, these teenagers got involved in the Grateful Dead subculture. They got involved with a band and doing tours and were groupies, and the term started spreading through that culture. And in the 1990s, a magazine called High Times Magazine, which is a cannabis awareness publication, spread it even more in the 1990s, so it became a worldwide phenomenon. Now, today, it is seen as an international day to celebrate weed, celebrate getting high. It's across the world. And teenagers see this as a wonderful place to use it to express themselves, to stretch their independence, to do something risky. There's a lot of peer pressure. It may not be overt, but it's felt like, wow, if I smoke weed, maybe I'm a little more involved with everyone else. So there's a lot of internal pressure to smoke weed. So what do you do with this information, right? Now that you know what 420 is, some of you may already know what 420 is, but anyways, now that you know what it is, what do you do with this information? And what I would recommend is you talk to your teens or tweens. Yes, kids in middle school do smoke weed. Not everybody, and it's not as prevalent as high school, but in every middle school in America, there is marijuana somewhere on campus. So I don't want to shock you, but you should know this. Anyways, this is a great time to start a conversation. Now, this is the way not to start the conversation. Are you smoking weed? That is not the way to do it. Your kid will shut up, will lie, will do anything they can to not talk to you about this topic. It's already uncomfortable as it is. But what if you did something less snooping, less accusatory, and said something like, hey, I know that you have friends who smoke weed. I'm not going to ask who they are, but I just saw this video and I read this article about 420. I thought it was really interesting, and I'm really curious what your opinions are about 420, about pot smoking, about drug use. And if you open it up as a way to share information, to share ideas, you may find your teen is a little more open to talking to you. And here are some topics you can talk about. Drug use in general. Talk about the decriminalization of weed and what her opinions are on that. Secrecy within the family. How safe does your kid feel to talk to you about these things? Conformity versus nonconformity. That's just a few of many topics you can talk about. So it's really important to start these conversations. And here's the thing, when you do this, keep your mouth shut, ears wide open. The more you listen and the less you talk, the more your kid's apt to open up and talk. And the more he talks or she talks, the more able she is to start understanding what she's saying. She can start picking apart her opinions and ideas, and she may even be open to your ideas as well. About when you were 16, what was your relationship with weed at that time? Is it different now? What lessons have you learned? It's a great way to share. Instead of coming in place of, I'm going to stop you from smoking weed. And if you go to that lecture, if you get in that lecture mode of, don't smoke weed, it impairs your emotional development, impairs your cognitive development, which is all true. You're absolutely right. It does for a teenager. It absolutely does. But if you go down that road, you come across as the stodgy, know-nothing adult who doesn't get it, and their 15-year-old friends who do get it are a lot smarter than you. The less you lecture, the more they're open to your ideas and advice. So now you're probably thinking, but Kent, I still don't want my kid smoking weed. And that's a totally valid point. What should I do? Should I, do I lock him to the piano every night? No, you can't do that. Do I drug test my kid? Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? And that is some of the questions we received also. And I'm going to answer that question next week, Wednesday, April 25th at 12 p.m. That's our next Tips on Teens Facebook Live question. I know cliffhangers are a pain, but if Game of Thrones can do it, I can do it too. So keep emailing your questions at tipsonteens@teentherapycenter.com. You can find more information on us at teentherapycenter.com. And I thank you again, and I will see you next week at 12 o'clock. Bye-bye.